So I thought it would probably be a good idea to finish up this series. I did not end up getting on last week at all. That kind of took me by surprise, and by the time I realized it, the week was already gone, and I thought I might as well just wait till Monday. No big deal, right? All right, so we are doing the very last lesson for creating mindfulness. It's creating positive thoughts. And so there's a couple of different things, a couple of different approaches you can take to this. I want to kind of take a second. A lot of times we don't realize that a lot of the things that we would really like to have, we are not able to because we don't have them by right of consciousness. That means that your thoughts and your beliefs that you hold on a subconscious level actually will make it so that you will sabotage yourself to having things that you want, or that you won't try, or just different experiences that you'll end up creating in your life that you will end up having issues with being able to attain those things. And by creating positive thoughts, that's one way that you can actually help to grow your right of consciousness. So what happens is when we're thinking, that's with our conscious mind. And when we're really young, the things that we create a habit with our conscious thoughts, they actually end up moving into subconscious. So if you had like a belief, we'll just use finances just because it's the first thing that came to mind. Like if you had a lot of people talking about or telling you about money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford it, those kinds of things, those begin as being conscious thoughts that you remember hearing and stuff, but eventually it becomes more like habit and it moves into your subconscious layer of thinking. And so you don't necessarily think about those things consciously, but they move into your subconscious. So now by creating positive thoughts, you can actually retrain your subconscious to start working from the things that you're working with. And that's where positive affirmations come in. That's where the creating positive thoughts come in at. And it's interesting though, because a lot of people will say, oh, positive thinking doesn't work, or that there might be a little bit of a backlash, because I mean, especially in the mental health community, I know I've heard a lot about, a lot of people will say, just pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And honestly, that does not work with somebody who is dealing with mental illness. But it's not because of the idea is not correct, but it's so much more than just the thinking. Creating positive thoughts is a first step. You're countering the negative thoughts that maybe you've been having, or that have become a habit for you. But then you also need to pull in the feeling. And so the first thing you would do is, okay, what is it that you're working with that you are really not wanting to deal with? Like whether it's personal image, or whether it's finances, or your health, or anything like that. You find the thing that you're thinking about of, oh, I'm always tired. I mean, that's one I still have to work on, is like, oh, this, whatever's going on, I'm sick and tired of this and this and this. Of whether it's the political something, or whether it's just feeling stuck in some way. And yet by saying that, I'm actually reinforcing a subconscious belief that I have, of that in order for something good to happen, or for just a lot of the things that are happening in the world, it's taking all of my energy and all of my freedom and all of my everything, and it's making me sick and tired. And so I end up creating more of that. And so that's what I'm even still working on. And so I'll catch myself saying that, and I'll say, okay, well, that's not what I want. What do I want? I want to be vibrant. I want to be energized. I want to feel free and alive. And so I will take those things and I'll make those as affirmations. Well, then you can take that next step. And first of all, how long can you hold that for? And so you can sit and imagine yourself having that thought in your mind. You can you've practiced tuning out all of the negativity. You've practiced quieting the negative thoughts. You've practiced that silence. And so now you have a place to plant these seeds of positive thoughts. And so how long can you hold that? And can you bring in a feeling that goes with it? And so one of the things that you might need to add with it is, how would it feel to be rejuvenant and to be full of energy, and, have those things, and say that out loud. And it's interesting because I've done this a few times where I'll say that, and I'll just feel like there'll be that kind of a minor little angst that will come up, and I'll be like, no, that wouldn't be okay. And so then that gives me a place where it's like, okay, well, why wouldn't that be okay? Why am I afraid about that? Or why am I angry about that? It's like, I might feel angry that if I felt peaceful about my world, that all these injustices might go unjustified or unrectified or whatever. And so I can look at that and I can feel that, and I've taught before in other videos where it's like, when you have a feeling, feel it, tune into it instead of trying to push it down. Tune into it and allow yourself to feel it, and allow yourself to figure out what that is going on. And then ask yourself the question again, because it will dissipate. You'll have more clarity on what that's about, and you'll be able to work through it. And then you can ask it again. How would it feel to experience freedom, or to experience, feeling happy? And so work through those. Another one that you might be able to do is like, okay, so one I would do with like self-image and helping to teach and coach through that is, I love and accept myself conditionally. And there would be people that there's no way that they would be able to say that. In fact, honestly, like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that to myself. If you're looking in the mirror and you can say something to yourself, maybe you can't say that to yourself. And so you can actually shift that just a little bit by saying something along the lines of, I'm willing to love and accept myself unconditionally. And you might have to take it even further and kind of dance around it a little bit more. It's like, I'm willing to learn to love and accept myself unconditionally. And so you can do that. You can also do one where you're kind of dancing around it, where it's like you have like this main concept in the middle, which is, I love myself. And it's like, okay, I might not be able to say that about myself, but maybe I can accept the things that I love about myself. Like, I like my smile, and I enjoy helping others, and you would start listing things about yourself that you did like about yourself, and then you could come back into the center, and it's kind of like you're swirling yourself into it, and then you might be able to say, you know what, I am willing to learn to love and accept myself, or whereas before you might not have even been able to do that. I'm trying to think. Oh, and then the other thing is knowing what you want. It took me years to be able to begin to know, because honestly, I'm still discovering this about myself. Things that I want. I had shut my wants down for so long. I didn't even know what I could possibly want. And the very few things that I did want, I just felt like there's no way I could even have those. And so I just shut it down. And so now it's like, it's been so fun to wake up to that and to know what it is that I want. I want to have great health. I want that vibrance, that energetic, that just resilience, and I want to have that financial security. And I'm not even talking about, I don't want to be necessarily wealthy and rich, but if I did, I want to be able to be okay with that. I want to be able to have the finances to be able to support me in the things I love to do, whether that's sewing, or whether that's spending time with friends, or being able to, go places or see people and be able to enjoy my life, and to be able to educate myself. I mean, one of the biggest things that I'm so excited for is I'm saving up my money to continue on my herbal certification, because that's something I'm going to end up offering eventually when I get certified. Is part of my services is herbal consultation. And so that's something that I've got my focus on, and I'm super excited about being able to do that. And so I'm not, shutting those things down anymore. And it's taken time. And so as you go through and as you're able to start, you've learned about quieting your mind, and now you're creating these positive thoughts. It's not just enough to keep yourself being able to be mindful where you don't have anything, the chitter chatter or the drunk monkey brain or any of those things I've heard it called before. It's kind of like, okay, so over here outside my garden, somewhere over there. Yeah. So if I were to just sit there and weed and weed and weed and never plant anything, all I would do is get more weeds. But if I plant something, it actually starts taking up the place and there is less room for the weeds to grow. And I get the harvest. And so it's like that, whether it's, garden or just anything in your life. It's like if you're constantly just taking the negative out, then that negative can so easily creep back in. But if you take the negative out and you're working on putting the positive in, it starts to shift you. It starts to shift your life. It starts to shift your thinking. It shifts your emotions. It shifts your perspectives. You start seeing the world in a completely different perspective. And you start, and it's interesting because it's the same world that you've always lived in, but it looks different to you now. And it's not rose-colored glasses. It's like you're seeing things from a new and you are seeing things from a new perspective. It's like, when you're looking at buying a new car, or when you've bought a new car, how many times do you suddenly see that car all the time? But, the 10 years before, well, probably not 10 years, the 5 years before, you really didn't even notice it except for maybe once in a while or something. And that's because it was just not on your radar. It's kind of like that concept of we see what we believe. We don't believe the things that we see. We see the things that we believe, and that's so true, and all these other things. And so by working on creating your positive thoughts and working on becoming more mindful, you start having the power and the tools within you to creating a whole new experience in your life for good, and being a light to others, and being able to enjoy your own light in your own life too. So, hi Sherry and hi Josere. It's good to see you guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to let you guys practice those things, and I'll probably start getting into some more random videos here on out. But I just really thought having that series was just kind of important to me. I just felt like that was a really good place for a lot of people to start, especially if they're working on things on their own. Feel free to journal things. It's a great way to get your thoughts down so that you can kind of look at what you're thinking and kind of get it on paper so that you can kind of wrap your head around it, so to speak. So anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic night and that you're able to start practicing doing some of these things. And I will talk in and check with you guys later. Love you. Bye-bye.